Hello everyone. I just wanted to do a follow-up video on my ZVS flyback driver induction coil for shielding. And the purpose of this video is to let you know that you can run it in your car using one of these power adapters. Of course, that's your standard cigarette lighter or power port on your car. This over here is that standard 5.5/2.1 connector. This is the original one I bought for inside the house. Of course, it came with this deal here with the green on it. So this is nice because you can wire it up like this, and then you can just disconnect this part and bring it out to your car with you, and then you plug it right into that, and away you go. If you just, if you want to try out, see if it helps your symptoms a little bit, as it did for me, maybe you just want to buy one. They're inexpensive. You can get, the two adapters and this setup for about 20 bucks. Somebody's going to have to solder this on if you can't do it yourself. Somebody will have to solder it on there for you. I used the Hyper Tough soldering kit from Walmart. It came with the rosin core solder. You want rosin core solder for electrical soldering, not the lead type or flux type that would be used for plumbing. So rosin core solder, Hyper Tough. Kit was about 12 bucks, so it's easy peasy. I wasn't very great at soldering, but I got fast quickly. Another thing I wanted to mention is I took a little bit of sandpaper and just sort of scuffed up this surface here and these connectors just so it would adhere a little bit better. And as I mentioned, the other one here, you can't really use these because of these screw connectors because they'll just get hot and melt. But so that's the point of the video there, is that you can, in fact, and I did it today for the first time, run it in the car so that you have a sort of continuous exposure. And credit goes to really once and for all. This is where I found it. My symptoms had gotten worse all of a sudden. I, out of necessity, had to try to do something and found this and gave it a try. So he had said that he'd tried a lot of different things and that this actually worked. And something interesting that I noticed poking around on Richard Lighthouse's site is that he has something on here too. It's just called the ZV is a zero voltage or 0 point. That's what this coil is. But he's talking about using it as a power source. I found that very interesting and probably not completely coincidental. And just another quick thing, why or how it works and why it may be beneficial to interfere with or shield you from incidental and nefarious microwave exposure, like Havana syndrome. The constantly changing current direction creates a fluctuating magnetic field in the ferrite. So it's turning the two transformers on rapidly over and over again, and that creates a magnetic field. And that magnetic field, according to Once and For All, it's electromagnetic, and it may produce a blue aura for the harasser. Again, these are, as Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe have said, these are automated systems. Anybody with a satellite can do this. There are more foreign satellites over the United States than there are domestic. They're dragging their feet on this one. I don't know that the United States is a perpetrator or not, but they're not doing their job to protect us, especially given how much money we give them. So that's ultimately the purpose of the video, to answer a couple of quick questions that were asked and some things I thought of after the fact, to point out that you can power it with your car just the same with a power adapter like this. That's what Romex looks like. I've covered that. I'm considering grabbing some little heat sinks. They do get a little warm on the bottom portion. Where is it? Down in here, it gets a little toasty. The whole thing gets a little toasty, but I was thinking of either hot gluing or maybe even zip tying on a couple of these heat sinks, but I'm just kicking that idea around. That's my video. We all know that. Something that's great, when I searched for how it works, my video was the first thing to come up in the search, in my dyslexic search here. Cover Richard Lighthouse, how it works. This guy's funny. I like watching his videos. If you want to be entertained and learn a little bit about science, I recommend him. So, yeah, this deal here is nice. Now, one thing he says is over here, a 12 to 48 ZVS driver volt with a 24 to 48 power supply. This would be huge and run so much juice. It'd be a little concerning to me. Now, I did order and try, and had it fail on me, a different style. It wasn't quite this one. This is 1,000 watts, 20 amps. It doesn't cost much more. It doesn't come with a coil either. You'd have to come up with one or make one, which is not a big deal. I'll try to find the one that I bought that did not work and had to be sent back. It wasn't this. It only had one of these coils, and it was a lower wattage, so I thought I'd give it a try. It was more than this, but less than these. But it just didn't. It wouldn't power up. So when he suggests that, I'm going to go ahead and just respectfully suggest that you start smaller than that with something that runs less power. I would rather, like I said in the other videos, I'd rather see you use more of them. Like I said, one in each corner of a room would be good. And at $15, you could just leave the one in your car there. If you have a work desk or something, if you work in a place where you can have it there, and no one's going to hassle you about it, then you can have it there too. It's only, again, a $15 setup or $20 setup here. If you can afford to have one at your work, have one in your car, and have a few in your primary living space, like your living room or even sleeping space. So I have tested these now, and I've run them overnight with no issues. And there's no reason you should. It's just like, this is just a computer power supply. They get a little warm, but don't touch it. And don't let this touch anything that's flammable. And people use electric heaters all night. It's not a big deal. That are running 1,500 watts. This is only 36 watts. So this is not, if you put it in that perspective, I mean, even your furnace in the basement is turning on, running a massive amount of watts, and you have flammable liquid gas or whatever. There really isn't anything to be worried about here. Just don't touch it. A meatloaf pan would be great for your car. Something that's slim, longer, but narrow. And I'm kind of playing around with stuff that I can put a lid on so that I can guarantee that I don't touch the connections. The problem is that it runs so warm. I would be more concerned that I would cook it. I'm trying to think of something slick, like maybe I'll take like a piece of plexiglass, and drill a bunch of holes in it, and then just silicone seal it onto the top of a meatloaf pan. In a way that holds it in there so that the connections can't accidentally be touched, but they can also vent out the top. Obviously holes smaller than your fingers, so you can't accidentally, or a child or a pet, accidentally touch it. But, let's just be honest, we're all awash in microwave frequencies. Even if no one's intending to harm you, as with the Havana syndrome, you're exposed. You're being microwaved all day long. You and your kids and everybody from all of the cell phone, beams that are flying around, and you can't see it, but it's there. And we've all seen what microwaves will do to animal tissue and water. And in case you aren't aware, you are made of animal tissue and water. Fun fact. So thanks for watching, guys, and I wish you the best. Always pass these videos along, and also, please, if you choose to give this a try, come back in the comment section and let me know what your experience was, and if it worked for you, because it certainly worked for me, and it may have just saved my life. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I wish all of you the best, and good luck.